They say you can take a man out of the hood, far away from his gang-banging ways. Place him in a comfortable lifestyle with an impressive bankroll. But will this make him a better man, or give a dangerous man more power to do more damage with? Welcome to today's murder case number 3, where I talk about New England Patriots tight end, Aaron Hernandez. Now, let me give you a bio of exactly who Aaron Hernandez is, just so you can have an understanding of who it is that we're going to be talking about today. Aaron Hernandez was a very troubled guy. He lost his dad when he was about 16 years old. But in that time, he also was a part of a very, very, very dangerous gang called the Blood Street Gang. He was one of the few people who got cut a very lucky break time and time again. After leaving Bristol Central High School, he was then accepted at the University of Florida. Though he failed several drug tests, he was still drafted by the New England Patriots of the 2010 draft. He was given a $40 million contract, and thus his new life began. His persona was that of a gangster. He was very smug and someone who demanded respect and loyalty. He would tolerate no kind of disrespect. Now here I want you to meet Odin Lloyd. Now, Odin Lloyd is the victim in this case. Odin Lloyd at the time was a 27-year-old Dorchester, Massachusetts man. He played semi-pro ball called the Boston Bandits, and for his regular work he would do some landscaping for a company. Odin Lloyd had really big dreams of one day being able to play for the NFL, just like his friend or acquaintance Aaron Hernandez. Now, Odin Lloyd and Aaron Hernandez knew of each other socially because they dated two sisters. Odin dated Shania Jenkins for 18 months, and Aaron Hernandez dated Cheyenne Jenkins. They were due to get married. Also, Aaron would ask Odin every so often to hang out here and there. And I do want to add this in that Odin was also Aaron's drug dealer. Aaron Hernandez would just, treat him very, very well. He would sometimes rent Odin a car, a real nice car, like an SUV. So Odin Lloyd wasn't boastful at all about being acquaintances with Aaron Hernandez. But it was very, very clear by Darryl Hodge and his really, really good mates in the Boston Bandits that Odin was very starstruck by Aaron. So now this is where the story begins. Let's get to it. One Saturday night on June 15th, Aaron Hernandez had contacted Odin Lloyd and asked him if he would want to hang out. And also, like I said earlier, that Odin was his drug dealer, so I'm sure that not only did they want to hang out with each other, but also, to pick up some drugs. So Aaron asked Odin if he would like to hang out at a nightclub called Rumors, which is placed in the Boston Theater District. While there, Odin began to socialize with a bunch of people that he saw there, really great friends. One of those friends, it was his birthday, and so of course Odin Lloyd wanted to go over there and to spend a little bit of time wishing his good friend, happy birthday, that type of thing. But meanwhile, Aaron was not too keen on Odin over there, totally ignoring him. I mean, Aaron was the one who brought him to this nightclub, and it just seems like Odin ditched Aaron, so that's how he felt. Like I mentioned earlier, Aaron doesn't like to be disrespected. He finds it disloyal, whatever. Now, it is said that Aaron Hernandez, being the person that he is, you know, he, like, when I say that he was totally against being disrespected, looked upon as being a fool, like if you're trying to make a fool out of him, he takes it to the next level. He don't like it, and it's not good, okay? It is said that later down, when it was boiled down into the courts, they had said that just the simple fact of Aaron feeling disrespected, that was enough to go and murder Odin. But it was also said, and this is what I believe, when Odin Lloyd went over to his friends, they had asked him, dude, why are you hanging out with Aaron Hernandez? Do you remember last year when there was a murder here? There was a double murder at the corner. Those two guys. We really do think, we have good reasons to believe that Aaron Hernandez had something to do with that. And Odin's like, seriously? Like, oh my God. Now, when I tell you that these friends of his are like really, really best mates, like they're not gonna lie to him and try to make up a story. So when his friends had said this to Odin, Odin's like really drinking this in, like, wow, dude, like, are you serious? So it is said later down the line in trial that Odin had approached Aaron and had a few words with him, like, dude, you know, they're saying some really funky things about you, like saying that you killed somebody, like you had something to do with that. Is that true? Like, what's going on? And that would make more sense for Aaron Hernandez to get it to be that angry and take it to the next level, okay? Either or, Aaron Hernandez decided to leave the club. He was really angry. He was like PO'd, okay? Very, very upset. Nothing was said more about that evening. Alright, so the next night, Odin Hernandez was hanging out with his really best friend, Daryl Hodge. They were going to watch a game that night, an NBA game. Odin got a call from his boss saying that you have to come in Monday morning. So they had to cut it short. Odin Lloyd took Daryl home in the car. That was the last time that Daryl Hodge seen his really great mate, Odin Lloyd. 5 minutes after Odin had dropped off his friend, Odin started getting texts from Aaron Hernandez at 9:05, and these are the texts. So as you can see, that Aaron Hernandez wanted to meet up with Odin once again. So Odin Lloyd agreed to meet up with Aaron. So Odin Lloyd decided that he was going to go and meet up with Aaron Lloyd. He wouldn't say no because, again, he's like starstruck by this guy, okay? He's just not going to say no, even though he knows he has to wake up early in the morning to go off to work. Okay, so meanwhile, Aaron Hernandez had texted his friends, Wallace and Ortiz, to come from Connecticut, New Hampshire, to meet him in Massachusetts. And so the text had also said, you can't trust anybody these days. So it's Aaron Hernandez, Ortiz, and Wallace all in a car together, and then they go and they pick up Odin Lloyd from the house. And this is Aaron Hernandez picking up Odin Lloyd in front of his house at 2:33 in the morning. Now, shortly after that, some time had gone by. Now, this surveillance right here shows that Aaron and his two friends, Wallace and Ortiz, coming back without Odin in the car. The reason why Odin was not in the car is because Aaron Hernandez shot Odin 5 times, killing him, leaving him in a construction site locked 2 minutes away from Aaron's house. Then we have surveillance where Aaron is in his house and he's walking around. The surveillance shows that he's actually holding a gun in his hand. It is a Glock, a .45 caliber. Now later, when the investigation takes place, Glock casings all around the crime scene, and they also found blue bubblegum stuck to one of the casings. Now that's significant because earlier on in that evening, Aaron Hernandez had bought gum. He's seen buying blue bubble gum in the scene, and also there was a towel hanging around one of Aaron's friend's neck, and then there's a white towel there at the murder scene as well. As far as the rental, there was also Glock casings found in the rental that Aaron had rented. The Glock casing that they found in the Nissan Altima that Aaron Hernandez rented was the same casings that they found near Lloyd in the murder scene. So there was other proof. The police had gotten a warrant for Aaron Hernandez's home, and they did see muddied up shoes, but instead of bagging them, they just took pictures of them. Later down the line in the courtroom, when the shoes were handed to them, they were brand new shoes. So it is believed that the wife had replaced those shoes. Another item that was good for the case, good to see if Aaron had any hand in this, which clearly he did, was the phone. But Aaron Hernandez had mangled up his phone. The good thing is that the police was able to save what they could save from the phone, and then they got the text that I had showed you earlier. But okay, here's like the biggest thing. The biggest thing. There was a man named Alexander Bradley. Alexander Bradley had taken a stand to testify his story that Aaron Hernandez murdered 2 men. Now, remember earlier on in the story where Odin Lloyd approached Aaron Hernandez to ask him, like, dude, what are they talking about that you killed somebody, you killed 2 people, like, what is that true? And I told you that whole story. Okay, so Alexander Bradley is testifying, or has testified, that yes, Alexander was in the car with Aaron Hernandez 1 year prior to Odin Lloyd's death. Okay, so let me just quickly tell you what happened that evening. Now, Aaron Hernandez has never released his gangster lifestyle, his gangster way of thinking, you know, of don't disrespect me because you're going to pay. Don't make me look like I'm a fool at all in any way, shape, or form because you will pay. And in this case, well, in every case it seems, but in this case, these 2 men, we later learned, was executed in the car by Aaron Hernandez. In the club, accidentally spilled something on Aaron Hernandez's shirt. There were words that were given. Aaron felt disrespected with what was said and the fact that he got something spilled on his shirt. So when the 2 men left the club, Aaron followed in tow, got a Glock out of his SUV. The next person who went with Aaron that night was Alexander Bradley. But anyways, on the corner of Shawmut and Harold in South End, Boston, Aaron Hernandez pulled up to the car of these 2 men and emptied a Glock pistol, a Glock 45 pistol, no, caliber, into these men. For the man who was sitting in the passenger seat, he was killed executioner style right at the temple. The other man, the driver, was shot multiple times in the chest, and then he died. There were 2 other men in the car. They took off running. So that's pretty damning that this Alexander, in 2017, okay, so this Alexander Bradley is stating that yes, Aaron Hernandez is a killer, okay? Now, to double this up, guess what? At some point, before they all went to trial, before anything, okay, before anybody knew about these murders, okay, Alexander Bradley held it over Aaron Hernandez's head, like, you're going, like, what do they call it, blackmailing? You're gonna pay me a certain amount of money. If you don't, I'm going to the police and I'm gonna tell them that you left me for dead at a industrial park lot, a parking lot. Aaron Hernandez attempted to kill Alexander Bradley for blackmailing him, and then also preventing Alexander from going to the police. So he tried to kill him, but it didn't work. The only thing that happened is that Alexander lost his eye. In the end, Aaron Hernandez, he's all about like solving his issues by shooting people up and dumping them in this one particular lot. Like, what's wrong with you know, what is wrong with this guy? Like, you know what I think? I think that Aaron Hernandez, he screwed up so much. When I say screwed up, I mean like royally, okay? So many times in his life, and he's gotten away with every single thing. Everybody's always given him a free ride. So I think that when he killed those two men, and he got away with that, when he attempted to kill Alexander Bradley and he got away with that, he thought that I can get away with killing Olden Lloyd. He thought that he was going to get away with that. The only problem is that Odin Lloyd has a lot of family, a lot of friends who are not going to settle for a storyline where there's going to be holes. They weren't going to allow their loved one to fall through the cracks, and they demanded a resolve. They weren't going to rest without Aaron Hernandez being thrown into jail. And that's exactly what had happened. Aaron Hernandez was thrown into jail while the trial was going on. He had to stay there. It was leading up to him going to have life in prison, because the other two friends, remember earlier in the story when I said those two guys, Ortiz and Wallace, came down from Connecticut to help get rid of Odin Lloyd? They came forward as well, and they gave a plea deal. If they kept their mouth shut, they would have gotten life in prison. But because they pleaded guilty, and they only got 4.5 years each one. But in doing that, said that their testimony means that Hernandez actually did kill Olden. While in prison, Aaron Hernandez was in prison waiting for further trial. Basically, his lawyer said that they're going to give you life in prison, okay? So what Aaron decided to do is he wrote a Bible verse on his forehead, John book 3 verse 16, and he also wrote it on the wall. And then he further went ahead and he wrote a suicide note. And the suicide note basically said that if I have not been convicted at the trial, then I am innocent. And if I'm innocent, the NFL is going to have to reinstate my contract. And because I'm dead, they'll give you the 4. Yes, so that's basically how it ended for Aaron Hernandez. What do you think about that crazy, insane story? So what I heard to this day is that the wife of Aaron Hernandez and the NFL are actually still battling it out about that money. They don't want to pay her that money. So basically, that is the end of the story, a true story of Aaron Hernandez, bad temper. Aaron Hernandez with a really, really bad temper, who couldn't control himself, who had a belief that if he can get away with all the horrible things that he's done in the past, he can get away with anything. But it all caught up to him, and this is how the story ends. Love everybody. I hope you enjoy the story, the true story. Leave your comments below. Okay, until next time. Bye.